Lots of questions today about the future of the National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster. Is he the next one going to get voted off the island, so to speak, Steve? Sarah Sanders saying no, it is status quo, at least for now. But, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean it will be status quo tomorrow, next week, or in an hour from now.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, really, if you're working in this White House and you aren't working your professional contacts, you're not updating your resume, you're not being careful. And because that's what you need to do in this environment. This is an environment where people are getting tossed overboard with some regularity. This is a record level of turnover in a new presidency. And that level of turnover, there shows no signs of abating. If you think about the Attorney General and the many times that Trump has insulted him, you know, it's a question, a gambling pool, I suppose, could exist, not unlike March Madness in the United States. Which member of the cabinet lasts until the end of the month?
There are some names being talked about, and I know it's really early. We don't even know if McMaster is leaving or not. A bit of a guessing game at this point. But are there some people out there who you think are the odds-on favorite if he is, in fact, pushed out?
Well, you know, I think that's really going to be a difficult question to answer because the most qualified people are going to question whether or not they want to work for this administration. It's important to remember that a lot of particularly the foreign policy experts on the Republican side, backed someone else in the Republican primaries. They were not, most of them, Trump folks. And so there is a great difficulty getting people to work for this administration, given how people like Secretary of State Tillerson had been treated. So there is a real problem here in terms of candidate recruitment. There aren't too many members of Congress, for example, who would want to take on a job like this because they give up a very secure position, as Attorney General Sessions did, who was a senator from Alabama before he became Attorney General, and who knows how long that lasts. It's a recipe for really not getting the A-team on the job. And so your guess is as good as mine who might have the inside track, but it may not be the most talented Republicans out there willing to take this on.
Steve, some are calling this a very public embarrassment for H.R. McMaster, a general who served for many, many years in the American military. And I'm curious how you think the Trump administration has been treating its people, whether we're talking about McMaster, should he get pushed out, or Rex Tillerson, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, I really do think that this is not a good way to run an administration. Whether you like Donald Trump's politics or not, every president of the United States is facing extraordinary crises. They're looking at major problems to have to deal with in terms of a very, very volatile world, whether it's Russia or China, the Middle East, Korea, and a number of other countries that have similar crises. So you're looking at somebody that really needs to be able to get the best talent on the job. And when you're talking about people who have a position of status, they have, if they're elected officials or they have personal reputations, it's not clear that working for Donald Trump enhances your reputation, and it's not clear that working for Donald Trump is a long-term choice. And so with those kinds of barriers to participation, the way that Trump has treated the people that work for him so far, that really is a barrier to getting a high-quality administration, getting the best minds on the job. Whether it's Trump or any other president, you need to treat staff well if you want to get quality people working for you.
Steve Farnsworth, political analyst, coming to us from our bureau in Washington today with the latest on potential turnover in the Trump White House. Good to have you on, Steve. Thank you for taking the time for us in Canada.
Thanks, Todd.